Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's me again, Golden Blue Dude. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. I do college football videos every single day. Last week, I gave you a list of teams that could possibly get ranked if they won. I gave you an honorable mention list, and then I gave you a list that I was more sure about. And three of those teams that I was sure was going to get ranked if they won did in fact get ranked. Michigan State, Fresno State, and Kansas State. So I came up with another list for this week. Let's go. By the way, real quick, I've noticed people talking about how I haven't been plugging my sponsor. Well, I haven't lost my sponsor. They've just been going through some health issues, so they're taking a little bit of a rest. But as soon as they're back up and running, you'll hear me talking about TriStateWithSketch.com. So last week, I came up with a list of teams that I thought would get ranked, or at least had a shot of getting ranked. I had an honorable mention list, and then the list of teams I was sure was going to get ranked if they won. Three teams that pulled off the win and got ranked: Michigan State, Fresno State, and Kansas State. Here's the teams that could have gotten ranked had they performed better. UCF, but they lost to Louisville 42-35. Maryland, but they barely beat Illinois 20-17. Purdue lost to Notre Dame 27-13. Virginia, they had a really good shot, but they lost to North Carolina 59-39. I thought Kentucky had a good shot of getting ranked, but they barely beat Chattanooga 28-23. And then there's Pitt. I thought Pitt had a chance of getting ranked, but they ended up losing to Western Michigan 44-41. And then the game between Nevada and Kansas State. I said the winner was going to get ranked. Kansas State was the winner. They got ranked. Nevada was the loser. They didn't get ranked. UTSA, but they had an underwhelming performance against Middle Tennessee. They only won 27-13. Then SMU, they barely beat Louisiana Tech 39-37. So here's my list for this week. First, the honorable mentions. Wyoming, they're 3-0 with wins over Montana State, at Northern Illinois, and Ball State. They go to UConn, but UConn's 0-4, so I don't give Wyoming much of a shot of getting ranked. San Diego State, they're also 3-0. They beat New Mexico State, at Arizona, and Utah. This week, an FCS team, Townsend, that's not going to help them. Utah State, they're 3-0. They won at Washington State, North Dakota, and at Air Force. This week, they get Boise State at home. The problem is, Boise State's 1-2, so I don't know if that's going to move the needle very much. Liberty, they're 3-0. They've beaten Campbell, at Troy, and Old Dominion. But again, they're at Syracuse. Now, Syracuse is 2-1, but that's still not a big win. What about Army? They're 3-0. They won at Georgia State, Western Kentucky, and UConn. This week, though, they get Miami of Ohio. That's not going to help you get ranked. South Alabama, yeah, they're 3-0. They've beaten Southern Miss, at Bowling Green, and Alcorn State. But some of those scores were closer than what they should have been. But this week, they do have a shot. They get Louisiana at home. Louisiana's 2-1. They're only lost to Texas, and is still considered to be a decent team. What about USC, the ones that got knocked out of the rankings when they lost to Stanford? 2-1. They beat San Jose State, lost to Stanford, and then went on the road and beat Washington State. Well, this week, they get Oregon State at home. I don't think that's going to be enough to get them ranked again. Boston College, they actually have a pretty good chance. They're 3-0 with wins over Colgate, at UMass, and at Temple. They get Missouri at home. Missouri's 2-1. The problem is, I think Boston College is going to lose. They lost their starting quarterback. But if the Eagles can pull off a win, I'm confident they can get ranked. Baylor, they're 3-0 with wins at Texas State, Texas Southern, and at Kansas. They have a really good opportunity to get ranked this week. They get number 14 Iowa State at home. Iowa State's 2-1, but I do think Iowa State's going to win that game. But if Baylor were to pull the upset, Baylor would get ranked. Wake Forest, they're all of a sudden 3-0. They've beaten Old Dominion, Norfolk State, and Florida State. The problem is they go on the road to Virginia. Now, if they can go on the road and beat Virginia, they'll get ranked. I just don't see it happening. West Virginia's 2-1. First game, they lost to Maryland on the road. Then they beat LIU. Then they beat number 15 Virginia Tech at home. Now, if they were to go on the road and beat number 4 Oklahoma, West Virginia would get ranked. But I don't think West Virginia is going to go on the road and beat Oklahoma. I think it's going to be a good game. I have Oklahoma by 2 touchdowns. And finally, Rutgers. Rutgers is quietly 3-0. They've beaten Temple, at Syracuse, and Delaware. This week, they go on the road and take on number 15 Michigan. Michigan is also 3-0. Now, if Rutgers can pull off the upset, they will get ranked. But I don't think they're gonna. So Rutgers might have to wait a little bit longer before they have another shot at getting ranked. These are the teams that I think have a legitimate shot of getting ranked this week. The first team, Stanford, 2-1. Wait, Stanford? They got blasted by Kansas State in the first week. That's true, but now Kansas State is ranked. And after that, they went on the road and beat number 14 USC convincingly. Then they went on the road and beat Vanderbilt. This week, they get a home game against number 24 UCLA. I think if Stanford beats UCLA, they will get ranked. And I have Stanford beating UCLA, so I think Stanford gets ranked. Next up on the list, Maryland, 3-0. They've beaten West Virginia, Howard, Stanford and at Illinois. They had a shot last week to get ranked, but they didn't have a great game and barely beat Illinois. This week they get a bad Kent State at home. Kent State's 1-2, but I think Maryland's built up a big enough resume to where a convincing win would get them ranked. Keywords, convincing win. The next team on this list, Oklahoma State. They're 3-0. They beat Missouri State, Tulsa, and then a big win on the road at Boise State this past week. This week they get number 25 Kansas State at home. Kansas State is also 3-0. If Oklahoma State can beat Kansas State, they get ranked, and I think that's exactly what happens. I expect the Cowboys to be ranked after week 4. And finally, Kentucky. They're 3-0. They've beaten UL Monroe, a big home game against Missouri, and then Chattanooga. I thought they had a shot of getting ranked last week, and they did, but they struggled against Chattanooga. They got the win, but it was a close win, 28-23. This week, they go on the road to South Carolina. South Carolina's 2-1. That's not bad. I think a road win against the Gamecocks is good enough for Kentucky to get ranked, and I expect them to win that game. And then these last 4 names, they actually play each other, and I think the winner of these 2 games gets ranked. The first one, UTSA at Memphis. Both of these teams are 3-0. UTSA went on the road, beat Illinois, then beat Lamar, then beat Middle Tennessee. On the other side, we have Memphis. They've beaten Nichols, Arkansas State, and Mississippi State. I think if Memphis beats UTSA, they're getting ranked, and I think Memphis pulls it off. So I look for the Tigers to get ranked this week. The other matchup, SMU at TCU. SMU is 3-0, TCU 2-0. SMU has beaten Abilene Christian, North Texas, and at Louisiana Tech. TCU has beaten Duquesne and Cal. So I think the winner of this game gets ranked. And I'm picking TCU to win this game, so I expect the Horned Frogs to get ranked. So even with Oklahoma State beating Kansas State, probably knocking them out, I have TCU winning, so the Big 12 still gains another ranked team this week. Y'all let me know who I left out and what you think of my list. That's all I got for you for this show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on my next show.